That was good. That was good. So the Tigers, by the way, took 2 out of 3 from the Rangers, and we have a lot to get to. Spencer Torkelson went down. Yeah, Justin Henry Moy hit his first home run. His first hit was a home run. The Tigers were getting no hit by Jose Urena for some strange reason, and it was an interesting series against the Rangers, who are kind of a little bit beaten up, but the Tigers are starting to get beat up too. So Alex Faedo, another hip injury, I believe it's the same hip injury as before. He hits the IL after two pitches.
Yeah,
Maeda left. So
when we were on the air last week, did we know the extent of Carpenter? I forget.
No.
We knew it was a back injury. I don't know if we knew it was the stress fracture yet.
No, we didn't know it was a stress factor.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't that reveal. It was just saying he had some back issues. Yeah, a lot has happened, and the Tigers will play a weekend series with the Brewers starting tomorrow night at Comerica Park. Speaking of Comerica Park, by the way, there's some news. Let's get into Tiger news. Really, the Comerica Park is going to, in 2025, I believe it is, they're going to be announcing the Home Plate Club. So it's part of the premium seating experience for. It's going to be the most significant, it was announced today, the most significant upgrades to the fan experience since the ballpark opened. So it'll be open. Construction will be taking place later in this year, and the essentially what they're going to be doing is it's going to be a 13,000 square foot space for fans seeking a high-end experience. It'll be built beneath the stands and located at service level between the two, featuring direct access to new premium seats that will be installed. The Tigers will move 400 behind home plate from dugout to dugout to at least insert 350 premium seats in the area, which will be in front of the new cross aisle. The upgrade seating behind home plate will be completed by the first game of next season, but the whole experience won't be ready in the middle of the summer. So about 520 to 550 people will have access to the home plate club during the games. So the logo boxes, a 4-person mini suite will provide semi-private game viewing experiences for fans located in front of Tiger Den with privacy wall that encloses the seats for other fans. Fans sitting in these large boxes will have access to Home Plate Club before and during the game. So the Tigers are also upgrading the visitors' waiting room and other clubhouse spaces. So all that from Evan Petzold this morning.
Is there any truth to the rumor that we're going to sponsor it and it's going to be the Motor City Metrics Home Plate Club?
That'd be awesome. There's a little bit of smoke, there's fire. There is a sponsor in the works that Chris has been working on. Oh. Yeah, but it's kind of funny.
If anybody out there needs a little testosterone,
yeah,
we got You know, it's funny. I saw that announcement today, and every single comment below was about how the Tigers are tone deaf and how. Instead of spending money on this, spend money on players. It was like every other team, I think, has something like this, right? It's the equivalent, the modern equivalent of adding suites. They're trying to squeeze more revenue. They all do this. This is not, the Tigers aren't, secretly squeezing more money out of people. This is just it's what you do when you're trying to get more revenue.
The plan is to make money with this, right?
Yes. Yeah.
But it is completely tone deaf because this is 1 week after we were told that they're not ready to spend money on players. So what I don't like is they're asking you to spend more money on them on seats that already existed when they're not willing to spend more money on you.
But they're doing this in 2025, and they haven't signed anybody for 2025 yet because it's not the 2025 off season yet. They're going to spend money at some point. I'm tired of the instant whiplash. Oh, Tigers, go out and spend money right now. It's the middle of the season. They're not going to go sign somebody. And they're announcing this. I don't care why. I don't know why they need to do it now instead of the off season. But it's getting super annoying to me as somebody who is sorry guys, they're not going to go out and spend $300 million on Cody Bellinger. They're not going to do it. A couple years ago, they spent a ton of money on Javi Baez, and now everybody wants to, kick him off the team as soon as possible. You can't have it both ways. All right. They need to make better decisions when they're spending money, but they also need to improve the fan experience at the stadium in order to make more money. They have to do both. It's a business.
But they're improving such a small section of fans that are going to be able to afford to do something like that. I just think that that's why people get frustrated. And it's because those are the kinds of people that comment on Twitter too, or the kinds of people that can't afford to go to something like that. And I hear what you're saying. I'm not like the kind of person that's like, oh, they didn't spend money on the players. It's just more so like, why are you creating something that costs more money for an average fan that is going to be priced out already, who's already priced out of most sporting events? And so it doesn't mean anything to me. I'm just seeing, oh, they're spending money so other people can spend more money. Cool. You know, like, it's the timing of it being so close to when he said it is, I think, why people are bringing that up. It's because that conversation was a week ago.
That's a bit of a fair point. I'll give you that. No question. But I will say this also. The people generally, by and large, unless you're splurging, the folks who are sitting in those sections right now, you know, probably are the ones who will be more likely to spend on these upgraded seats, right? The folks who are sitting out in the outfield probably wouldn't have been sitting back there anyway. But, you know, the thing is, you could break the argument that now the Tigers need to be aggressive, maybe a free agent signing, maybe trading for someone who has a decent salary in order to sell seats in that area. Okay. So so maybe it is a good thing to upgrade. As Chris said, every team has this. I remember when the Yankees went to these premium seats, they used to have a daily night. They used to show it every day how empty they were, right?
Yeah.
For a long time. Then the Yankees got better and all of a sudden those seats started to fill in. I know the Royals have really nice seats right behind home plate, and they're often half full. You know, every market's different, but I think that they charge enough for those things. They don't have to sell them out every night. They just have to sell a decent percentage of them every night, and they're making money on that, which is their whole idea behind it. You know, Detroit for a long time behind home plate, they had that equipment door, right? And they had that. You saw the back of that security guy's head the whole game.
The Zamboni shoot.
Stupid. Okay, I mean, how did it take them this long to figure out, hey, we might want to sell that seat? You know, I mean, come on. So I think it's fine. I think it's a nothing burger. It's probably a 2-day controversy, and it, you know, goes away.
Yeah,
good stuff. I think people are getting really cranked.
I had a buddy. My buddy is a shoe salesman, not Al Bundy style, like a little bit more fancy than that. And he drives all around the Midwest. And he was down in Cincinnati, and one of the guys who owns the store down there was like, "Hey, we're going to the Reds game," and took him in their second row behind home plate, just because he owns a store. Yeah. And that's the people who buy seats like that. The businesses, they buy them, they send them to clients. It's suites but lower. And he said it was absolutely awesome down there. An incredible experience. They're bringing you food. They're bringing you drinks. You don't have to pay for anything. Like, it's already paid for. I get it. The average fan, that's not for them. It's not for any of us, honestly, unless anybody out there has a business that they want to tell us about. It's
and sponsor us.
Yeah, what they give us is they give us new flat screen TVs after 20 years, right? Like, they make these small adjustments. Who still don't quite understand. We were down there the other day. It's like, they've done all these changes. Why haven't they updated the Tigers on top of the stadium? They're looking pretty washed out and old now. But I don't know. Like, I just get a little bit tired of the fans screaming for them to spend more money every time. Like, every time they do anything, spend more money, and it's like, okay, we all want them to spend money on good players. I don't think. I don't know. Maybe I'm complaining too, because that's all they're doing. You're just shouting into the void on Twitter.
Yeah, and I think that, I do think what YouTube users said in here is the timing is definitely the problem with it, because the team right now is, the team's over 500, so it's they're hanging around right now, but at the same time you're getting you're not getting is the production what they expected, and so the business what Michael Mayer is saying is correct. These premium seats are something the Tigers have heard about from the fan base. There's feedback is pushing for this. And it's true, because you look at what's going on in LCA, that is a premium experience. That comparatively speaking to what it was at Joe Louis Arena. Let's be fair here. The Tigers haven't really done anything quote unquote premium like this. Tiger Stadium, come on, you're pissing in a trough, for Christ's sakes. Even when they were trying to do when Mike Ilitch put money into that little mini mall thing of all those food places. That was just like, that's putting, shoe polish on, or trying to put you're trying to polish a turd, and like there was, Tiger Stadium needed some upgrades. I mean, as much as people did not want Tiger Stadium to go down, like we all romanticize, we all like, nostalgia is a drug. We all love nostalgia. It stirs with us. And I think about my experiences at Tiger Stadium, and I love Tiger Stadium. At the same time, then I think about the sticky floor, the trough bathrooms, the smell. Sometimes it smells like pee, or sometimes the views you get in right field.
Sometimes
so
it smells like pee.
That's
It
baseball,
always
baby.
smelled like
Come
pee.
on.
Yeah, I know. Like,
Don't rip on the troughs. The troughs are awesome, man. I'm pro trough.
What? Okay, so
All right, well,
yeah, let's step up.
must be-
You get more people in there. You're not waiting as long. Come on.
No, man, come on, man. Like anyway, I don't want to trigger some memories there, but it's like just the thing is, lipstick on a pig. That's a good way to put it. But then Deadly Ninja Beats also said it best. The complaints will stop when you win. If the Tigers are winning, this would be like I said, like you said, a nothing burger. It doesn't really. Some of the stuff is definitely, like, for example, when they were talking about some of the upgrades of the minor league, we talked about this with Ian Up Tigers. The upgrade for the minor leaguers, stuff that was overdue, like 20 years overdue. The Tigers are way behind. The Tigers are way behind in a lot of different things, and so this is a prime example of that right there. Because there's Kansas City has even the White Sox have a little nice little suite area, and that stadium's a dump. Guaranteed Rate Field is a dump. I'm sorry, Comiskey 2 Field is a dump. That place sucks. So but Stan, by the way, with the 97 was still bitch even when the Tigers win.
And I think, that was Mike's point, I think, right, was the timing with the comments, and that I get that. That does make sense. It's just they're a business. They want to make money. They're going to try to make money any way they can, and they're going to try to win without spending money. I don't know, like, that's every business, right?
Yeah. Yep. That's what they're going to do. I mean, the comment of old BK, Yoop is the first pro troughed urinal person in history. That is 100% correct.
Less lines. You can get more guys on the trough line. I mean, just get them in there and get them out.
Even that line sounds weird, right? The trough line. Oh, all right. Anyway, moving on. So yeah, the Tigers did, like I said, they took 2 out of 3 for the Rangers. They got some really good strong pitching. Bo Brisky went out there and threw 3 innings unexpectedly. We did host a live stream for that on the Minor League Report on Monday, and it went pretty well. We're going to do it again. So I think we're going to do it this time with the 4 of us at some point, and we'll plan ahead. So how we did the live stream was we had a little score bug tool, so we can keep so during the game, and it looked like something like this. I think I still have it in our settings somewhere. It looked like this. Oops. Nope, never mind. I'll go back to our setup. Anyway,
Roger's just getting rid of all of us.
Yeah, no. So like that. So it was there's a little scoreboard thing right there, and Chris and I watched the game with the fans and commenting during the game. And so somebody said we made a better addition than Todd Jones, and that was really nice to say. So but yeah. So anyway, and that was a good victory. I mean, against a team like the Rangers who can hit the ball anytime. The strike zone was very inconsistent though. Monday that I noticed was one thing I took away. And then Tuesday, Tigers come back and get some. I think really, to me, out of all the games in the road this year, Jack Flaherty comes out, does his thing, then he leaves the game with back tightness, and you're just like, we can't have nice things. We just can't have nice things. And then the bullpen did its thing, and it was able to hold on. And between Shelby Miller coming back, looking like the Shelby Miller the Tigers signed originally, and Jason Foley doing the job, but it was Zach McKinstry's game. I mean, I don't know where I was, but he had I think, Chris, we're doing the podcast. He had a home run and a triple.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Zach McKinstry, who has just been struggling at the plate, comes out and does that. And this is why I love baseball, the unpredictability of it all. The rest of the lineup didn't really do much. It was just a very poor offensive game. And then Zach McKinstry carries the team to a victory. I don't get it.
Well, they had a little burst of power. You know, they had the 3 run. They had what? Green, McKinstry, and somebody else hit a home run in that game. Am I not wrong about that? Am I wrong about
that? Yeah, really, Green did.
Just Green and McKinstry. Those were the 3 runs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But at least they had a little bit of power in Texas. Those first 2 wins, that was nice to see.
Yeah.
One of the interesting things I was looking at when I watched the home run highlights, because as Raj mentioned, we were doing the Eat 'em Up podcast at the time. Riley Green's home run and Zach McKinstry's home runs were almost identical in terms of they almost landed. They were like the exact same launch angle, and like they must have landed within like 4 seats of each other. I was like, wow, that's fun. I wonder how often that happens.
Well, you know, the Jake Rogers game was fun too. I mean, the two solo shots. You know, he made a nice play behind. You know, he was getting a lot of credit behind the plate for pitch framing. You know, depending on where your beliefs are on pitch framing, he certainly drew in a few calls that were interesting. So that was quite a night for Rogers. So it was good to see the second tier of the roster, or third tier with McKinstry, you know, carry them to a couple of victories. That's what a team's going to need who is losing guys like Kerry Carpenter.
Well, yeah, and it just shows you that when their pitching is on, that's all they need. They need one guy to hit a home run or 2, right?
Yeah.
And that's how good their starting pitching has been. But unfortunately, you can see what happens, you know, in the third game, the Wednesday game. The bats go quiet, and sometimes that one home run isn't really going to do you much in the grand scheme of things. I mean, obviously it's not fair catching my eye to pitch 2 pitches. You have an unexpected bullpen game, 2 pitches into a game. That's never – I mean, even if you win that game, that's going to be an ugly game. So I get that, but it just feels like – I feel like I say this at some point every show. It was just a perfect – that series is exactly what you can expect out of the Tigers. It's 2 hard-fought pitching wins and then just 1 terrible offensive performance.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I it's tough to complain about winning a road series against the defending World Series champions, right? Even though they're a shell of what they can be with all their injuries, but yeah, that's a perfect encapsulation. They win these tight, close, hard fought games, and then it's a stinker across the board on yesterday. And as Raj touched on, it's like it's Jose Urena, really? Like why him? Why is it these random guys who've washed in and out of baseball 4 or 5 times, and like you understand when they get shut down by Paul Skeens, but I don't know. It's and who was the second starter in the Boston? Maybe it was the third starter in the Boston series. Just a guy, like I forgot his name.
Cooper Criswell.
Like, yeah, I think so. Yeah, Cooper Criswell. That sounds right. Yeah, like what's he doing? Come on. But,
it reminds me of that. It was the guy in the AIDS organization, the former Michigan lefty, soft tossing lefty, Jeff Criswell, who always would Jeff Criswell that would screw up West Michigan.
Jeff Criswell he is in that, or it wasn't an organization, but he wasn't the soft tossing lefty. He was a right-handed pitcher, but in decent velocity. The soft tossing lefty we forgot that dude. The dude who was throwing like 82 and just completely annihilating Whitecaps hitters.
So. Yeah. It's interesting yesterday. I was thinking that, last year the Tigers were an unstoppable force when they had a bullpen game. The bullpen games were some of the greatest games of the year in 2023. This year, I don't get the sense that's going to be a case again. So when they, when they put Wentz out there first, and then it's Katie bar the door after that.
Yeah, it's always tough when it's one thing if you like plan it and set it up for your bullpen game. It's another thing when the starter goes away after 2 pitches. You go, oh boy, I guess we got to throw Wentz out there. Wentz was just like not planning on doing anything. He's probably in his half hour of playing Tetris in the bullpen, and then So
yeah, imagine him like playing like maybe some Dr. Mario or something, but then he got screwed there. But it was nevertheless a lot of unsung heroes. And they come into a series with the Brewers are playing really well. And I want to take a victory parade on something because here's the thing. So everybody who's listened to the podcast for a while now knows that the Brewers are coming at 36-23, right? So they have a guy who plays in third base right now who's got a WAR of almost 2, and the gentleman's name is Joey Ortiz. There's a guy who has been just leading the Brewer, he's got an OPS plus of 148. This is a guy who I really wanted the Tigers to go after in the offseason, or actually it's 2 years now. And I'm not doing a victory parade because I like a humble brag, but you guys know my love for Jorge Ortiz, and he's coming into town, and I'm definitely going to be. I have the house to myself this weekend for the first time in 13 years. My wife is going to a supernatural convention in Columbus. Yes, yes,
wait,
Mike. I know you're laughing.
Wait, the show or like
the
supernatural,
show.
Like ghosts? Okay.
Yeah, which is, I mean, it's similar thing. It is. I mean, supernatural is. Yeah, it is exactly what it is. What you just said. It's a show. But it's with two guys who are like the Winchesters, if you will, and yeah, she's going to a convention, so it's weird. So, but however, I mean, it's weird not because I'd be doing the same thing. I'm going to minor league baseball games, and if I'm not gonna lie, I would probably go to a Star Trek convention at some point, at Comic-Con, or for that matter, Transformers convention. That's honestly what I would not. I don't make no qualms about it. So for those who are not familiar with it, by the way, Stan, with the question of the week was, who is Deltron Zero? And their explanation, I have to clip that explanation that Chris gave about who Deltron
3030.
Yeah, 3030 was. But anyways, those are the Winchesters for anybody who gave a shit. So
hey, is that one guy also in Prison Break?
I don't know. I've never watched that show.
I didn't watch that show either.
I know one of them is now the voice of Batman. He does a cartoon, a new voice of the Batman cartoon. So, but anywho, let's start our first segment and let's go inside the numbers. All right. So, Mike, what is your inside the numbers?
I got today the number 2.93. This is the difference in ERA between for the Tigers in the bullpen from March and April to May. It went up 2.93 between April and May. They had a bullpen ERA of 2.88 and 106.1 innings pitched, 1.1 whip, 96 strikeouts, 40 walks. In May, in 27 games, just 88.1 innings pitched. Your ERA is 5.81. That is obviously huge. I feel like we were talking a lot about the bullpen as though it was like a surefire thing almost. We were just like, hey, it looks like they got this bullpen locked down. That's just not something we can assume going forward. Joey Wentz, I feel like he hasn't found it in a couple of years. Andrew Chafin is looking a lot worse this second time around than he did the first time around. They have legitimate issues in the bullpen, and Hinch's tinkering or not, it was an issue overall. So I am not worried, but I am cognizant of the bullpen, and I think that a lot of the Tigers' success kind of lies with how they do this month and every month the rest of the year.
All right, that's good. That's a good one. Uper, what is your inside number?
My inside the number is 1.07 and 78%. Those are numbers belonging to one Brian Wu of the Seattle Mariners. I don't know how much West Coast baseball you guys watch. I admittedly, and again, I won't talk fantasy baseball, it's boring, but Brian Wu's on my fantasy team, so that has led me to watch him where I maybe not otherwise have. What a fun guy to watch. Right now, his ERA is 1.07. He threw 6 shutout innings at the Oakland A's today and beat them. What's really fun to watch Brian Wu is he is dominating right now, throwing 80% fastballs. You know, that guy, he's going to go fastball. He throws about 12% sliders, and he dabbles with a changeup. But really, he's just firing fastballs at different quadrants. And it's got a little wiggle to it. It's amazing because he's not giving up much hard contact, hardly any, because he doesn't strike out guys either. He's only striking out about 18% of the batters. It's just the movement on his fastball is elite, I think, and nobody's squaring him up. I think he's given up 4 runs so far this year. Seattle's rotation is a killer. You know, if there's any I would trade Detroit's for, I would seriously look at Seattle's with Castillo and Bryce Miller, George Kirby, and Brian Wu. So that's one to keep an eye on. He's putting up some incredible numbers. We'll see how long he can keep it going. He has had a little bit of arm trouble here and there where he has to miss a start. So always got to be walking on eggshells with him.
Yeah, I saw something earlier today that Brian Wu has made like some sort of drastic change against left-handed hitters. I was just looking last year. He had a 394 weighted on base against left-handed hitters, 9 home runs out of 180 batters faced.
Wow!
And this year, not as many, but his WOBA against lefties is now down to 189. So that's an enormous change. I haven't dug into much to see what's going on there, but yeah, that's a good one. It is a guy that I don't think gets. There are a lot of pitchers this year are performing very well. A year ago, like who the hell is that?
Yeah,
he's one of them.
Yeah, there was. Remember how the Miami Dolphins had the no-name defense? Is that who was like in the 70s? I can't remember. It was like that, something like that. Chris, what's your intent number?
Mine is 17. That is the number of times in the pitch tracking era, so since 2008, that a Major League Baseball hitter has homered on a pitch thrown at 101 miles per hour or harder. So basically once a year it happens. Now, it's probably more common over the last handful of years because there's just more people throwing super hard now. But I bring this up because last night, or I should say Wednesday night, Julio Rodriguez hit a home run against Mason Miller on a pitch that was 102.5 miles per hour. Just
wow, right
to dead center. And so I was looking, I'm like, man, that's got to be close to the hardest. And it led me to some interesting information. It's actually tied for the third hardest pitch hit out for a home run ever, along with a Ben Joyce fastball behind 2 Aroldis Chapman pitches that are not, that's not terribly surprising, right?
Yeah.
One of them was to like Devers? A 21-year-old Rafael Devers. Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah, it was wild, right? But then I remember, the fifth hardest ever to go for a home run was hit by a Tigers player. And I think somebody here might remember. If not here, somebody in the chat will probably remember who it was and how what happened. But
Rick Reyes.
No.
What year was it?
2018. Somebody in the chat might, I don't want to, cause dead air here, but it was actually Jamer Candelario hit a 2-run walk-off home run against then Cardinals closer Jordan Hicks on a 102.1 mile an hour pitch.
Yeah, I remember that. That's
and you could see the highlight of that. It's kind of fun. And then what I did? I was like, well, this is fun, but what about the minors? Because you can now search minor league data too. It's far less extensive. It's basically AAA going back a couple of years and single A going back a couple of years.
2006, right?
Just for the minors, it's only
for
the last 3 years. Okay. And I found there were a handful of pitches, and the hardest pitch ever hit for a home run, also by a Tigers player.
Cole Keith.
Nope. Christian Santana. Last year, Christian Santana hit a home run off a Luis May pitch that was 103.2 miles per hour.
Wow.
The only pitch ever that's been a home run at 103 in the tracking era. I mean, obviously, again, they haven't tracked every pitch in the minors for the last few years, but that's what we've got, which is kind of wild and also kind of sad that Christian Santana is struggling in his 3rd year in Lakeland and is nowhere to be found right now.
Yeah, he's in a strange situation. He's in this limbo. So, by the way, Matt Broder, who's in the chat of Woodward Sports, will be joining us for the draft show.
Oh, nice.
On Sunday.
You pressured him into it?
Pardon me?
You pressured him into it? I think what you saying last
week.
Oh,
no. It was a guilt trip. Like we ended up talking afterwards. He said that he didn't get a missed call, and understandably so. But Matt Broder will be joining us along with Scott Bentley. Scott Bentley, who is now if Bentley, I think if he would he would have like the 5-time and jacket award, but I think he's done every draft show with us. So yeah, Matt Broder, who played college ball at the University of Michigan as a soft tossing lefty. Good Lord, I cannot talk. And my former colleague over at Woodward Sports will be joining us along with Scott Bentley and myself and Chris. There's going to be maybe Papchek there. I'm not sure, Pap. Are you gonna be there for that? We'll talk about that. But
first, I'm here. We can talk about that.
Yeah. So Bentley does look like Bo Brisky, but it's still Bo Brisky still looks like Inspector Gadget. I'm sorry, that could not go. That was one of the funniest things. Stan probably provided one of the funniest moments. So yeah, this is gonna be fun. So we're gonna have the draft show is gonna be fun. We're gonna be talking draft here shortly. We also have an article on Casey Mize coming out tomorrow from one of our interns, Colin. He did a really good job with that. So it's a minor report.
An interesting theory about Casey Mize, or not necessarily theory, but a suggestion about how to maybe get a little bit more out of him. And I saw the YouTube user asked if we can trust those minor league tracking data. I don't know, maybe. I was like, okay, this is kind of wild. Who's this Luis May guy? And I looked, and he has like 300 pitches thrown like 101 miles or harder. So I'll buy it. But yeah, it's minor league data. Who knows? Well,
if it's anything like the Phillies data, like that feed we watch on YouTube, I think we could trust it a little bit, because that stuff is pretty. It seems like it comes out pretty accurately. So my inside number is a slash line 304, 360, and 391 with an OPS of 751 in the month of May, and a BAT PIP of 452, and that would be one Jake Rogers. So that's how good Jake Rogers. Like, it's been a quiet. When you look at the numbers, you're like, I shout out to Jerry, because Jerry tweeted it out the other day, and I ended up looking at the stats a little closer, and I was like, wow, and just he has gone. I mean, he didn't have any home runs, but he just put together, a couple multi-hit games here and there, and just kind of consistency. So it's good to see, especially because the catching has been among the team rankings. Tigers have been among the worst ranked in terms of like offensive production from the catchers. Although Jake Rogers does a lot more defensively. Monday, his framing on Bo Brisky was chef's kiss. Like, he just took a lot of strikes. And that's the kind of difference that Jake Rogers makes over there behind the plate. So, that's the inside and number for this week. Let's go into our next segment.
Hey, Raj, wait, just a second. I want to not to interrupt, to keep the flow going, but I another thing, we asked about, was it last week, 2 weeks ago, the idea of what a realistic Tarek Skubal extension would look like. And we had another question from the Discord, from Jet2. I don't know if Jet2 watches, or if he's, what his name is here, but he had an interesting question. It was basically, and with Spencer Torkelson back in Toledo, he said, how do you feel the Tigers approach first base this offseason with Tork still having a year of control left? It's an interesting question to me, because, and we were trying to figure it out earlier, apparently Torkelson was on track to be a Super 2 player, so he would have had, the Tigers have control of him for the next 4 seasons. But if he had been a Super 2, if he had stayed up in the majors this entire year, it would be 4 years of arbitration. If he's down in Toledo for like a month, it's back to next year. He's not eligible for arbitration again. So it's a slight difference in money, but it's a difference. And it becomes a bigger difference in that 4th year of arbitration if he gets to it. So, I don't know if any of you guys saw that and thought about that, but what would your approach be to first base this offseason?
First base is kind of one of those positions where teams, either they're doing it piecemeal with a bunch of guys, or they have that one slugger that they can plant there, and that's their steady first baseman, right? I think my personal opinion is they will continue with him if possible, first and foremost. And I think, though, that next year they will bring in somebody in that second tier to be available on the roster as a DH first baseman, and have that ready to go as a fail-safe, I would think.
I don't know. Mike, Raj, you got any thoughts?
So I go Cole Keith at first base. And then what I would do is, here's what I would do. I would go put Jace Young at second, and then you go for the Alex Bregman sweepstakes deal, or third base, or you want to address third base. Hyu Lee is now your future third baseman. We saw that tonight. We've been seeing that a little bit more. Hyu Lee is an option down the line. I mean, you still have to see he's been putting up some good numbers. I bring him up because I'm also working on a video on him too, but that's what I would do. Put Cole Keith at first, put Jace Young there. And then if you can get something for Torkelson, if the route that the Tigers want to take, personally, I still think he's going to stick around. I still think they believe in him enough. But honestly, because I see that happening. I see them going internal versus external, because externally speaking, what are your options are? I mean, I can't, without looking at the free agent market or anything right now, I think the Tigers would just go eternally first and then knock out the problem that way. Jace Young is too short to play first. Not to say you can't have short first baseman or anything, but Cole Keith fits that size. And Mark Gurash mentioned this during the game. And ever since, and this is something that Chris, we've talked about this before, ever since the Arizona Fall League a few years ago, he has not been the same guy throwing the ball. Cole Keith. He's still doing a good job, don't get me wrong, but he isn't the same guy that we saw him at West Michigan play third with the nicer arm. So that being said, I think it just makes sense for him to go to first base if that's the route they want to take. So that's just what I would do.
Yeah, Keith's you could track the arm strength or whatever on Baseball Savant. It's pretty low. It's about the same as Marcus Simeon's, but whatever. Yeah, I agree. It's certainly the arm is not what it once was.
By the way, Corey mentioned that Vlad was playing some third for the Jays. I did not see that. That's interesting. Yeah, you know what? Look, if Vlad Guerrero Jr. came here and put the numbers up, he did. He does look now. I know there's a lot of people in Toronto think he's quote unquote underachieving based off his monster year. I'll take those numbers in a heartbeat. Thank you very much. I'll take Vlad. I'll take a guy who can walk, who hits. I mean, his numbers at Comerica Park are ridiculous anyway. A guy who can hit the gaps. Trust me, if he was even available, and again, we know that the Tigers don't do trades. It's just a fact right now. As of right now, they don't. But that's a guy who even if he was serviceable at third, I'd do it. I would do it in a Toronto minute, because New York minute doesn't make any sense here. Whatever I got to do, whatever to get him here or something along those lines. You could have Jody, you could have traded Jared Skubal for Joey Ortiz. But that wasn't going to happen anyways. So, Mike?
Yeah. Mike, did you have any thoughts about it?
I mean, I'm sure in the short term, I think we'll end up seeing Justin Henry and Malloy play at least a couple games there. I don't really know where else they really expect him to play defensively. Kind of really tried him out a couple different places in the minors, and it just seems like if he's going to play, that might be where he ends up too. But I actually do think, with like what Roger's saying, I do think that they're actually going to stick with him. I think, again, just based on the way they've been approaching, and Scott Harris has preached that they're going to give their young guys a lot of at-bats. I think that if he just holds steady, I see him coming back and at least having another chance next year too. So I just don't see him completely going away right now.
Yeah, and for my part, I would move on. I would try to trade Spencer Torkelson now. I don't see him having a year from now. He could have absolutely zero value whatsoever. Right now, there's still a little bit there, I think, but you're probably looking at a kind of a trade where you're moving your distressed asset to another organization for one of their distressed assets. Like, I don't trade him to Miami for AJ Puck or something like that. Like just something. And either bring in a free agent first baseman. It's actually a very good class for free agent first baseman, if such a thing exists, right? There's Pete Alonso out there, Christian Walker, Anthony Rizzo might be available. Bellinger is going to be out there again. Who else? There's a couple. Reese Hoskins is going to be out there. Like, there are playable to good first basemen who are going to be in free agency. I don't think the Tigers are going to do that. I think I don't think they want to give up on Torkelson yet. I do because, to me, just to provide value at first base, you have to hit a ton, right? And Torkelson certainly has the power. We've seen him. He did it, 30 home runs, but he's never hit for average above A ball. And, average, smaverage, whatever, like, it doesn't matter that much as long as you're walking a ton. But he also hasn't walked a ton since the minors.
That's the big one.
He's not walking a ton. He's a very bad defender at first base. All you're hanging your hat on is 30 home run power, right? Which is you can get from Rowdy Tellez for, you know, a sandwich. And that's not a comment on his size. It's just how much you have to pay. So I mean, you can hold out hope and cross your fingers that you're going to get him fixed and he's going to start hitting when he hasn't proven that he can. But for me, yeah, get something and move on. I think what they're going to do is, tantamount to nothing. I think what they're going to do is start playing, as you guys have suggested, they're going to start trying anyone and everyone else at first base. They're going to give reps to Keith or Young or Malloy or Carpenter. Somebody in the Discord suggested Riley Green try first base because he's a big and lefty. You know, I think they're going to do that. And so that they'll have that optionality. If Tork comes out and struggles again next year, that they can keep one of their young players playing, but now it's at first base instead of second base or third base or whatever. But that's me.
Yeah, it's just a triple decker sandwich. You know what? Look, if we're gonna talk about sandwiches here, triple decker or a Chicago beef sandwich, Italian beef sandwich. There we go. That's that. You know what? Look, if for Italian beef sandwich, because that actually sounds really good right now. I'm dead serious.
I can't believe you're gonna make me say it. A Cuban, the Cubano, man.
Well, okay, look. Here, okay, here's the thing. And I've made Cuban. Chris, did I ever make a Cuban sandwich for you?
I don't know if you made one, but I've definitely gotten a Cuban at restaurants with you.
Were you at my house at a Super Bowl a few years ago? I would have sworn I invited you.
Not for the Super Bowl. I came out there once for Michigan versus Iowa in something. Okay. But
no, I've made Cubans, and I haven't made a Cuban in a while. It's long overdue. But you know what, Uper, as a native Cuban, you gotta get sick of the Cuban. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta change things up. You know, like. I love, like, you know, like it's there's a thing for, like, I'm dead serious, for like a period of in my youth. I had a bad Cuban sandwich when I was a kid, and I didn't eat ham for a decade because I got so sick from it. So a Cuban panini is elite.
Oh yeah.
So Tony's BLT, that's another good call. Who puts cheese on a BLT? All right, enough with the sandwich talk because I'm starving. Like no, it's okay. No, because now all I'm thinking about is tomorrow I'm going to Matt's Deli in Dearborn and I'm gonna get myself a Reuben or a pastrami sandwich. So for those who are in the Dearborn area, who have not tried Matt's Deli, elite. That's elite. Like, that's grade 60, grade 70 food there. So, all right, let's go into our last segment: the good, the bad, the ugly. All right, so we did get a good and bad, the ugly from a gentleman on Facebook, Brian on Facebook, and we'll read his last. So just don't make sure I don't forget. So, Uper, what is your good, bad, the ugly?
All right, my good is yesterday I was able to go see the Mud Hens, and that was a real fun day. Took my son there. Just want to talk about a couple of things I saw. First off, massive props to a kindly old usher who, my son is in a wheelchair, as some know. We were sitting out in the sun for about 2 innings, and I could tell this just wasn't going to work. He walked us up to where there was a very shady wheelchair area, took us on the elevator, which I never would have been able to find for like a half an hour if he was trying to help me without leading me to it. Real nice old guy, got us the seats. Love that, so kudos to him. The games itself, watched the end of the suspended game. Tigers got crushed, or Mud Hens got crushed 10-2. The next game, though, was pretty fun. Ty Madden, I'd like to talk about him just a little bit. Obviously had a good outing in terms of he had 8 strikeouts in 3 innings. And obviously you strike out 8 guys in 3 innings, something was working. But it was really an interesting way to go about it. He was really having to work his ass off to do it. He was deep into a lot of counts. He walked 3 guys. There was a lot to think that, hey, this guy's got something, because obviously they couldn't touch him, but his command and control was just, wasn't ideal, you know, and they had to yank him after 3 innings. I think he was up around 77 pitches. That 3rd inning, it took him 30 pitches to battle through it, gave up a run. His velo was down about 3 ticks, I think, that inning. He was 95-96 in the first 2 innings. He was 92-93 in the 3rd. It just makes me wonder, and again, I'm not an expert on him after 3 innings. Okay, I saw 3 innings. So you take it for what it's worth. But I just had a hard time envisioning him, that guy that we saw yesterday, getting through a major league lineup twice. But I could see him getting 3 to 6 outs for you with the stuff that he flashed yesterday. So I just wonder in the end. I mean, we always talk about he's going to be a reliever, and it almost sounds like an insult, but it's not. If he's a high leverage reliever, that's pretty damn good. I'd like to be one. So, could he be that guy? We'll see. But I thought it was to get all those strikeouts in 3 innings was a step in the right direction for him. Jace Young hit the ball hard in the suspended game, got robbed of a hit. Got a couple more hits and a walk in the second game. Looked good. Bat looks quick to me. He's got that funky stance. Like, how the hell is he going to hit it? But he does, and it's impressive. Parker Meadows, 2 bombs. The first one was it was downwind. It had to have left the stadium, I think. It would have been gone even without it. But he really looked locked in, looked good. Torkelson had 2 solid hits as well. So hopefully, he's got a long way to go. I don't think he's on a quick train back to Detroit. I put the over-under in late July if he makes it back at all this year. So, but it was a good start for him. We'll take that. My bad, so also from watching the game, that was the most I've ever seen players griping about the robo-ump. There was just a lot of bad body language out there, a lot of exasperation, a lot of sighs, a lot of slumped shoulders. And it was so interesting that they couldn't turn out the ump and give him any grief over it. So it just looked like, to me, and I was sitting in a pretty good spot behind home plate, the zone looked big. And I wonder, with the technology, how much it fluctuates from stadium to stadium. If it does at all, I don't know. But so that was an interesting part of the day. It just seems to me that, players will find. I don't think the robo-ump's going to take that away. My ugly White Sox announcer, John Schifrin. I mean, my gosh.
Yeah, I got the audio.
For those who don't know, he's new.
Uper, if you want me to, I can play the audio. Spinetti. Yeah. If you want, I can play the audio for you whenever you're ready.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I'll set it up. Basically, the other day, Tommy Pham slides into home. He gets into it with the catcher, and all of a sudden, Schifrin goes off like he's like he's a street criminal, and he's going to take care of people. It was unbelievable. The thing about this, when Raj plays it, notice what you don't see or hear. Steve Stone's got to be like, oh my God, what is going on? Because he was silent through the whole thing.
Yeah, good call there. All right, here we go.
And he's out. And Contreras is barking at him. Tommy Pham barking back. He's not backing down. He doesn't like that. And now home plate umpire Edwin Jimenez has to hold back Pham. Nah, we ain't taking that. We ain't taking that from the Brewers. I don't care how many L's we got this year. We ain't taking that. Now they're holding back Tommy Pham to make sure that everybody cools down. I mean, it was a clean play on all sides, well executed. You've got to take a gamble there. Maybe the throw is off the mark. For whatever reason, William Contreras decided he was going to give Tommy Pham an earful. Might be the wrong guy to do that to.
Oh, that's the last dude you want to do that to.
You know what, Uper? I asked this question. It was so bad. It was so bad. By the way, thank you for being a member, Matt. We appreciate that greatly. Uper, I asked this question on Monday. I'm going to ask you the same question. And we asked this to the audience, and so for some people, have a good night, Broder. Thank you for coming in, and looking forward to having you on the draft show. So we're going to ask the audience here, who's worse, Tommy Pham or Milton Bradley?
Ooh.
Yeah, see?
Yeah, that's a tough one. That's not an easy yes or no. I would say Milton Bradley, he was just consistently a jerk. I mean, I might go Milton Bradley, but it's close.
Yeah. Oh yeah, true. Milton was actually bipolar. Try to fans. Okay.
Yeah, and I wouldn't hate having Tommy Pham on your team, right? Like it's a bit much. It was more embarrassing to the announcer. I agree with you. Like that was, he was like it was like Matt Shepard's, angry teenage son announcing the game.
And this isn't his first thing. When they had that controversial interference play on that infield fly rule, I mean, he was just losing his mind over that. He sounded like a big baby. Then he had smaller things like he couldn't pronounce Bill Veeck correctly. If you're going to take the job with the White Sox, you might not want to say Bill Veeck. Yeah, he didn't know Bill Veeck's name. Maybe he didn't know who he was, but he was saying Bill Veeck. And that's minor. I'm sure he'll never do it again, but
yeah.
But he's off to a slow start in his career with the White Sox.
Yeah,
and that's
Jerry
what I got.
Jerry Reinsdorf somewhere. It's like, well, we have an announcer. Yeah, it's just I don't know.
He loves it. He loves having clowns as announcers. We talked about that. Like,
yeah, he is sending the clowns.
Reminds him of Hawk.
My favorite comment of the night, though, is Corey. This White Sox misery is delicious. We stole their announcer. They're going to lose 100 games, and they can't draft better than 10th. That is very true. And by the way, so the Deadly Ninja Bees is good and bad. The ugly is Todd Jones. Corey's was the good, Jason Benetti, the bad, Maeda's injury, ugly, Bias's batting average, and then Stan had one. His 2-1 versus Texas, bad, Joey Wentz, and ugly when KC gave up 5 runs in the 8th to Cleveland and lost. You know what? No, that's good because actually both teams are kind of annoying in some ways, but Time Pham's post game was pretty crazy too. So, but he's a hired.
He's like, that's why I do all the fighting in the off season. You're like, what? Okay.
All right, Pap, what's your good and bad the ugly this week?
Well, we kind of touched on most of what I want to talk about. I just want to highlight Justin Henry Malloy just a little bit more. Love that he replaced Spencer Torkelson, who he waited, 40 days for his first home run of the year. And Justin Henry Malloy, we wait 3. He's 0 for 8 before he hit the homer, 105.9 miles per hour exit velocity, home run at 29-30 ballparks. He single-handedly kept the Tigers from getting no hit. He got the 2 hits of the game. I realize that's kind of, I say that tongue-in-cheek, it's still not a great game to watch, but kind of cool that your first hit is a home run and you get another hit, and none of your other teammates could get one themselves. So I just think it's worth highlighting that. And he seems like a great, humble kid. Hearing him talk about things, he is one of those people. He does not seem like one of those polished guys ready to talk to the media. Like, I feel like, I guess I wouldn't say any Tigers are really like that, but he's just so humble and so real. He was just talking about how surreal it was. And I just feel like you don't get an interview quite like that. I thought it was cool to listen to him talk about his home run. He actually talked about how his parents were there and it was cool and stuff. I don't know, I like that. My bad is I also tried to attend a minor league baseball game this past weekend. A couple weeks ago, I decided I was supposed to go to a Cleveland game, and a buddy of mine, miscommunication, I thought he got me a ticket, and he never did. And then they sold out. So couldn't go to a Guardians game, decided I'm going to go see the Michigan Whitecaps. So I get over there in Grand Rapids, bring a friend with me. We have a great day planned. Looks like the rain's about to hold out, and then they had to postpone the game. I had to be back on Sunday by about 5 o'clock. And, of course, the first game of the doubleheader on Sunday started at 2 o'clock, right when I needed to leave to head back home. So really bummed. I hope I can go see him at some point this year, but I really thought it was going to be this past year or this past weekend. And I realize for my ugly that there's only so much we can talk about this guy, but I don't want to let him off the hook. And I want in context to people realize like how historically bad this really is, especially for him. Javi Baez, it may be one of the worst regular MLB players, and you can't even really call him a regular right now. He may be one of the worst ever. Even for him, it's truly unbelievable what it's gotten down to. His slash line right now is 184, 212, 251. All career lows in all three of those. No, excuse me. His batting average was lower his rookie year in 229 plate appearances. But his OBP and his slugging were higher. So his OPS was higher. He has a 31 OPS plus. He is worth -1 WAR.
Ooh.
It's not just something that I don't like that everybody just talks about him like, oh, he sucks, get him off the team. Like, that's overblown, and like everybody knows it. But I just want to make sure you guys know, and anybody listening knows, that it's truly almost incredible. And what's even crazier is that he, against one team in the league, he has an OPS. I mean, it's only 3 games, but this year he has an OPS against the Arizona Diamondbacks. Hit 1,539 is his OPS versus the Diamondbacks. And then every other team in the league is under 700. So maybe we just need to hoodwink the Diamondbacks and be like, plays good in your park. I don't know, but I don't want to bring him up all the time, but it's worth considering. He is that bad. And it really goes to show you could literally have a guy like Parker Meadows bat 098 and still affect this team more positively than Javi Baez has this year. That's just a statistical fact, and that's unbelievable to me. But that's what I got today.
No, that's a good one. And you know what? I've been talking to this guy, Jason, online on Twitter, and there's a guy by the name of Andrew Navigato down in Toledo. And I'm not gonna like Chris and I have talked about this behind the scenes. Some of his numbers are pretty good. I don't know if what his in zone swing stuff look like, Chris. I wasn't sure about that, but
let me take a look.
Yeah. But Navigato plays a solid defense. He is batting decently. Again, this is Toledo, so you have to look at it with you have to really squint harder with this kind of things because, for example, we were talking about this on Monday. Andre Lipsius is hitting the ball for Oklahoma City Dodgers. Doesn't mean a damn thing because it's the PCL. Numbers like that don't matter. I mean, all these Rocky players that do really well in Albuquerque is because the altitude's different. Same thing in Las Vegas. So it's one of those things where I think Bada Boom Bada Bing said it in the chat. Maybe they should start a true platoon at shortstop with Javi and somebody else and only bat him against lefties. They have no choice. They might have to. That's something I think AJ Hinch would probably have to do because he does platoon only because of necessity. Same thing with Spark Anderson. Everybody talked about how you platoon. Well, he only platoon because that's what he liked to do, but he really didn't have any, a choice. But I mean, as far as shortstops go right now in the system, Trey Cruz is hitting really well. He had another home run tonight. He had a bomb tonight. I mean, absolute crushed it. But defensively, he has lapses quite a bit. I think he's a better outfielder than he is infielder, just, at least in my opinion. Solid player, but I don't know. Shortstop, he just seems like there's just sometimes he has a lapse where he just, for whatever reason, just makes really bad errors. But again,
all of those guys, Roger. I mean, right now, if Baez's season, if he stays on the pace he's at, he would have the 5th worst OPS in history for a regular baseball player. It's that bad. I would take any of those guys, give them all a week, let all of them try a week or two. If you're not going to spend money and we really want to see these young guys, it's really gotten to that point where I can't believe he's still on this team, and I can't believe I don't expect them to do anything about it.
Yeah. I mean, and by the way, I did not forget about Ryan Kreidler or anything, or Eddie Leonard, but those names are already built in. But if you're thinking about another name to throw in the mix, Andrew Navigato out.
Yep.
So,
and for the record, his in-zone whiff rate this year in AAA, 16%, which is the 3rd lowest in Toledo, behind only Dylan Dinkler and Anthony Boom. For context, Parker Meadows is 18.9%, Justin Henry Malloy 21.8%. So if they're throwing it in the zone, he's hitting it. I haven't checked his chase rate, But yeah, I mean, he's performing in AAA in a way that makes him not out of the question. And this is I hate to be this way, but I don't think he is a big league shortstop. And whenever I say something like that, somebody else is like, "Well, neither is Javi Baez. Look at the way he's hitting." That's not what I mean. It's you have to be an incredibly gifted defender to play shortstop regularly at the big league level. And I don't know, aside from Ryan Kreidler, I don't know if there's another major league shortstop defender in the Tigers organization. Gage Workman makes spectacular plays at shortstop, but fumbles a lot of really simple plays. And Cruz and Navigado, they can fill in there for sure. Navigado, I mean, he's played it a lot. I like him more at second base. But it's just the bar to play shortstop in the major league level is so high. It's a bummer that the one guy they have is one of the worst offensive players in history, and then the one backup they have is a guy who might not hit any better in Ryan Kreidler.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, Kreidler.
And the problem with a lot of like with Kreidler and the others.
I was just gonna say,
he
had a golden sombrero against a low A pitcher, Chris, a Uper. So
yeah, he's not he hasn't quite found the bat yet. Once he's returned to action, he was out for a while and never really had any steady playing time. So we'll give him a little bit, but I'm not a huge believer in Kreidler's bat.
Yeah, I mean, either after watching him yesterday, a lot of soft contacts, it just doesn't look the same as he looked a few years ago. But he, all these guys you're talking about too. I mean, if you want to platoon him with Baez, they're all going to have to be on the strong side of the platoon, and they're, a lot of them are right-hand hitters anyway. So that's what when you want Baez in the game. So it's just quite a conundrum they found themselves in. I mean, they did put money into Baez a few years ago. Even though it was, number 4 of all of the 5 big shortstops, it was still a decent amount of money, notable. It wasn't the massive investment, but it was big, and it's causing them problems. And I don't think anybody saw this coming, and even the people who didn't like the Baez was signing in the first place.
Yeah.
That Sosa idea is not bad either. Chris, what's your good and bad uglies?
Speaking of the Phillies, my good is the Phillies pitching staff as a whole. Which is, Dave Dombrowski's cooking up more magic again. And you look at the pitching staff, and it's not surprised to see guys like Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola perform. But right now at Fangraphs, the Phillies lead all of baseball in FWAR, and it's not even close. They're at 12.2 right now. The next closest is Boston at 9.2. And for reference, the Tigers are 12th at 6.3. So, as I mentioned, Zach Wheeler's got 2.2 WAR, Aaron Nola 1.4. And they both have sub-3 ERAs. But then there's Ranger Suarez, who's been amazing this year, 2.2 WAR at 1.70 ERA. Christopher Sanchez, 2.1 WAR, 2.71 ERA. They have 15 pitchers this year who've thrown at least 10 innings, and 11 of them have an ERA under 3. They have 4 pitchers with an ERA under 2, which is the same amount as the pitchers with an ERA over 3. And that includes Gregory Soto and his 4.91 ERA. It's just a crazy good pitching staff right now. I don't know. Whenever you see pitching this good, you just assume it's not going to last all year long, but it might not matter. They're just, winning so many games and pitching so well that, and the Braves are so hurt that I don't know if they have much to worry about this year, but they've been really good. You got Spencer Turnbull out there too, who's a Taiwan Walker struggling, and they got Turnbull just kind of sitting there waiting. I think he's got a 2.70 ERA. So just a lot of good things going on there in Philly. My bad news, and we've kind of touched on this, and this is bad news for Tigers fans. It is Jace Young's defense at third base. As much, everybody's excited, hey, Jace Young, they signed Cole Keith with second base, get Jace Young, move him to the third. He'll be the third baseman. It's not going to happen. It's only been a couple months. And Jace Young he hit a 432-foot home run a couple minutes ago, just an absolute bomb. He's hitting well. He's doing everything you want with the bat. But defense at third base, it's not cutting. He also made his 11th.
Oof.
You freeze there? Everybody freeze or?
I think it's just Chris. Yeah, I think we lost Chris.
All right. He made his 11th error. That's what he was trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Winfield Perez has the C-Sax yips. Go ahead. Oh, I thought somebody was going to say something.
Well, I was going to, Jace Young, probably not the third baseman. I agree with Chris. As much as I've tried to watch this year, and not everybody's born to be in the dirt. Is he going to be a second baseman? Does he have to move to the outfield? That's going to probably be the looming discussion over the next months and couple of years.
Yeah, and it's especially with you want to he has that the arm. The arm is certainly he can play second just fine. He was fine as a second baseman. He's serviceable there. It's just third. It's just sometimes it's even just it's the basic plays that he struggles with. Just same thing with how you lead a little bit, and that especially tonight too. There's a bad throwing area. He had all the time in the world on it too. So without Chris until he gets back, I'll just go ahead with mine. My good this week is, and I hate to admit this, I have a lot of respect for this guy, Jose Ramirez. And tonight's loss to the Royals, he became the first player to hit 60 RBIs. He's already at 60 RBIs. He's at 17 home runs. And just the fact that he's a guy, he's having a really good year. He's hitting 387 with batters in scoring position. And he's he's a monster. And I wish he was on our team. I wish he was on the Tigers. I got a lot of mad respect for Jose Ramirez. The fact he also signed back with Cleveland was like, hey, this is where I want to be. It's a really cool story because the guy believed he's sticking with Cleveland, and that doesn't happen very often because you look at what happened for Cisco Lenore and other players involved in that kind of caliber. But their city connects are still ugly. I'm sorry.
They really are.
God.
He's got to start showing up in some MVP talk, right?
Yeah, I hope so.
I would have to think so.
He literally is putting Cleveland on his back. The reason why Cleveland has been so successful this year is one part between him, Andre Jimenez. Yeah, there's just so many other factors. Yeah, we can go on. And I can understand why Pappy were so upset about not going to a Cleveland game. To watch this, watch this juggernaut. My bad is so there's a couple of things that I was debating back and forth between the bad and what's really ugly, but it was okay. In addition to what's been going on with the White Sox announcers or anything, the White Sox in general, I know it's been a while since I picked on the White Sox, but it's worth mentioning too that I think they've lost their, in terms of just they've lost 13 in a row. I don't know if they won tonight or not.
Not at all. They were getting no hit in the first five innings.
Imagine just, I don't feel sorry for him. I don't feel sorry for him whatsoever. It's just a shit show.
They're losing 13-1 as we speak.
106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
It's a good thing about Chicago right now.
Their pitching has scattered 20 hits.
Scattered. Good term. All right, Chris, I'll let you I'll resume my ugly when you're done because my ugly is a little bit of a rant. Continue as you were, sir.
Sorry, I don't know what you last heard from me. I believe the Young family unplugged my internet.
No, as somebody said earlier in the chat, he goes got that Walmart internet service.
Yeah. I don't know what happened. Earlier in the show, it was like Youp's sound was off for me or whatever. But in any event, I don't know the last thing you heard. I was talking about Jace Young's fielding percentage, which is .878.
Oh, you were saying that he had 11 errors.
Yeah, I mentioned Matt Vierling. Did you guys hear that? Sorry.
No.
Nothing about Matt Vierling.
So, yeah, okay. So I was saying, did you hear when I talked about Justin Henry Malloy by any chance? Because
No.
So, all right. So I spoke for like a minute without noticing that you guys were not there. The whole thing I was saying is that the Tigers pulled the plug on Malloy after 60 games at third base last year. He had an .897 fielding percentage. And then I mentioned Matt Vierling, who is -3 outs above average, -3 defensive run saved at third base this year, a below average MLB third baseman. His fielding percentage is .981. And after tonight, Jace Young's is .872. So it's still relatively early, but I don't think it's going to work for him at third base. I think he's a second baseman. I think going back to that Torkelson thing, maybe try him at first base too. But yeah, the third base there, I think we're still looking for a future third baseman in the Tigers organization now. And my ugly was going back to something that was we talked about a while ago. This Las Vegas A's stadium and the Las Vegas A's in general, right? They're heading off to Sacramento soon. There was just a report that came out today or yesterday that the owners and then the president, they want, as part of their 30-year lease agreement or whatever, they want the ability to play up to 7 home games a year outside of Las Vegas. So, I don't know, play in Iowa, play in London. I don't know what their plan is, but they want to expand the brand and attract new players and sponsors. And of course, this was not part of the original agreement when they talked to Las Vegas to get $380 million of public funding. So, it's just more absolute nonsense from John Fisher. Raj put up the number and how much money he has a show or two ago. And the other thing, when they were doing this, they were showing the mock-ups from that stupid stadium again, and it just gets me upset that they didn't do anything fun with that stadium. Like, there's so much. I know gambling's not the best thing to do right now with baseball, Tucapita Mercano, and all that stuff, but they could, you could have a lot of fun with kind of the more gaming aspects of gambling in your stadium. You could have a giant roulette wheel in center field that spins every time you hit a home run, right? You could have seats that kind of, like in San Diego, they have the warehouse. Just have a giant slot machine. People sitting in little slot machines, and you could
make it like the casino level in Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, some of the best music in Sonic ever too. Yeah. Or there's so much crossover with gambling and baseball that you don't even think about, like aces and jacks and clubs and diamonds. Like, there's a lot of stuff you could really lean into that, and you could have you pass out poker cards before every game and treat each inning as a face card. And I don't know, there's just so much fun stuff you could do. And instead they have what if we have a big scoreboard on the ceiling?
What are they, Lionel Richie fans or something?
Yeah,
I mean,
everything about this sucks. So that was my ugly.
What an asshole.
I wish somebody would buy the A's.
John Fisher is a total douche. I mean, does he now? I mean, I imagine every meal of his is comp somewhere. He finds a way to comp every meal somewhere. He'll put his own hair on a steak and say something. He just sounds like he doesn't want to pay for anything. It's just, yeah, and you're right. The stadium wise, the other thing you could do with the whole Vegas team is it I was just thinking about this from a standpoint of, I'm trying to think of the game, the crabs, somebody shooting, what I'm saying is shooting dice, what I mean by that is so they're throwing the crabs down, or crabs. Wow. Craps. Thank you. Craps. And just when they pull a pitcher out, just a big craps hand, just take him out of the bull, use that to pull somebody out of the bullpen, I don't know. I'm overthinking it a little bit. Just lean into all that. Like I was saying, just treat before every game a single, single, double, triple homer. There are 4 of those, right? Make each one of them randomly one of the suits of today singles are aces or clubs, and doubles are diamonds, and there's just a way to do it where you could have a lot of fun and lean into the gambling stuff without getting super illegal. But they won't ever do that because that's too much fun. You could take the A's font, by the way, and make that A the ace. So the A, you could do a lot of that stuff. You could, there's a lot of things you could do, and they won't because
we should be running this organization.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
No.
Definitely.
Yeah, if they go to Vegas and start spending a lot of money, and Bada Boom brings us up, the city of Oakland will hate him forever.
There's a 0% chance he's spending money. If he does it, it's Jeffrey Loria style, where he spends it all in 1 year to get people coming there, and then trades everyone away.
Yeah. Oh, you know what's funny? He wouldn't even trade he wouldn't wait. He would wait till the end of spring training to trade everybody just to do it. Just to say, I want some money security. Is all the checks clear? Okay, good. Trade them all. So my ugly is it's this whole gambling situation. Not because it's almost like we saw this coming. It's crazy. But here's why I think it's ugly. the fact that they're kind of on a witch hunt a little bit, and I mean that is, they suspended Jay Groom, a Phillies infielder by the name of Jose Rodriguez, Andrew Southrank, Michael Kelly, but then when it comes to Mercado was banned for life. I just find it ironic because they made those decisions quickly and swiftly, and they just were out of the way. When it came to Shohei Ohtani, that thing dragged on forever. Whether it was his agent or whatever the case, his handler, the whole thing shrouded in shadiness. And that has been drawn out. Ohtani's been, somehow Ohtani's been clear of it all because he can mash the baseball. And whether he'd spend or gambling or not, who knows? But I just find it funny that you're also on the same time getting 18 regional networks bought up by FanDuel. What the hell is wrong? Like, how hypocritical is that? Oh, it's okay for FanDuel to buy 18 other teams. Regional TV broadcasting rights. You're letting a damn gambling company let that happen. That's okay? Yakuza or the Yakuza mafia betting style, lose a finger or two. I don't get it. It doesn't. Am I finding hypocritical? Am I crazy for thinking that's hypocritical?
No, well, no. I mean, it kind of reminds me a little bit of like what's going on with college football, where for years and years, like, oh no, these are amateurs, these are student athletes, we can't pay them. And for years and years and years in baseball, it was always like, oh well, no, gambling is that's a red line. You can't bet on games. That destroys the integrity of the game. But then they go, oh, but wait, there's billions of dollars to be made here. So yes, we'll get in bed with these people, and then we'll still, shake our fingers at the players for trying to make a buck. And I guess you got to do it right. You can't have players deliberately throwing games because then nobody will trust anything. But I don't know. I mean, I assume that's always happened and it always will happen, and you just need to provide them enough distractions so that nobody notices. But yeah, it's a bummer to see guys like David Fletcher getting embroiled in this thing while he's working on his new knuckleball down in the minor leagues. It's a shame.
I gotta be real.
Go ahead, Mike.
I feel like I'm on an island. Like, it has been wrong to gamble on baseball as a player since the 1800s. Yeah. Like, the fact that it's sponsoring, I guess I just don't see how that's related. It's always not been okay. It's always been this way. You don't gamble on sport you play in. Now, if you want to gamble on other shit, I don't see why not. So I can see an argument there. But I don't care if FanDuel owns the whole league. If you want sports to have any sort of meaning, you have to keep players out of it. That's just, otherwise there's not a single shred of integrity left. So I guess I've never understood that argument. I really don't get it.
Well, I mean, I don't think that anybody is for players gambling, right? I think that the argument here is that then the league is just taking all this money from this vice, right? Like you don't see cigarette ads at the stadium anymore. They banned tobacco. You can't, like, it's not the Marlboro Stadium. Like, there's still plenty of money in alcohol, right? Because hey, yeah. But yeah, like there are certain things that don't fly in stadiums because they're considered a threat to public health. And I would think gambling is one of those. But when there's billions of dollars, they just go, I don't know, whatever.
Well, people are losing their houses and everything. Nah, that's fine.
Was it true Michael Kelly bet like $99 and he's lost a year of salary? Like 700 grand or something.
But Carlo, what? He won like 4% of his bets, maybe? I mean, that guy was a crappy gambler. Reminded me of, yeah. Go ahead, Chris.
I mean, wasn't it Jameson Williams? Didn't he get suspended for 6 games just because he made bets from inside the practice facility or something like that? Like,
he was in his car in the parking lot. Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of ridiculous, all the different things, like the punishments. But I don't know. They have to kind of draw that line, like we said. And I agree with you, Mike. Like, yeah, you have to try to protect the integrity of the game in some regard. It's just, it does feel awfully hypocritical when they're just raking in all this money from sponsorships and gambling outfits.
I guess, but like, what else can they do? They can't, if they're not going to let the players gamble. Like, I guess I just don't understand what else they could do. And it's like, I don't know.
build luxury.
The rules are the rules. I'm not saying the rules shouldn't be changed, but the rules are how they are now. It's the same way with like weed. I'm all for weed. I mean, look at me, but that doesn't mean that I would support any player who gets caught doing it and gets punished for it. You know?
Look at me.
I mean, come on. I can't hide it. It's just I'm a stereotype. But my point is I don't feel sorry for anybody who gets in trouble for a rule that is in existence. You don't fight the rule by deliberately breaking it, you know? So I guess it's just that's where the disconnect exists for me. Like I understand what you're saying. I'm overblowing a little bit saying I don't get it, but I guess it's just I just feel like they're more separate than people kind of give them credit. It's a little more apples and oranges than people kind of make it seem.
Yeah. No, I just, you know, you would think just the idea of the, you know, they just wouldn't take the money from gambling, right? But there's too much, and you can't tell them not to do that because they're just going to take the money when they can, right? In an ideal world, they wouldn't get in bed with gambling at all, but they have to now because there's so much money, and so it just muddies the water a little bit.
Yeah, since we're telling people what we do, I just wanted to make everyone know I'm a sparkling water with THC guy myself.
Oh, I've heard that's good.
Yes, it is.
So it's got THC, but not is it? So that actually gets you a little buzz.
Yes.
Nice.
And cottonmouth sometimes, but
yeah. Well, I don't want that from my beverages. But then if you're in
a couple hours later, you know,
you're caught in a death spiral where you drink more THC water to get rid of the cottonmouth, and you wake up like you've been eating sand.
Yes, but it is tasty.
There you go. All right,
sounds interesting. I've been drinking a lot of poppy the prebiotic soda. That stuff is really good. It's only got like 5 grams of sugar, barely if that. It's really good. So if you're trying to kick a pop habit like I am, ironically enough.
So do they sell sparkling water with THC in Michigan?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Let's see.
I'll be up there in a couple weeks myself.
There you go. Yeah, we'll go to a game. Get lost in Detroit.
Down in Greektown. So
at the casino.
So previewing the series coming up with the Tigers and Brewers before we get out of here. So like I said, I was mentioning it a little while ago, the Tigers start tomorrow at 6:40 with Olsen versus TBD. Mize, by the way, will be pitching on Saturday, and for Sunday, Scooble will be pitching the last game of the series. So hopefully the Tigers can. I think the Tigers have a chance to take 2 out of 3 from the series with Olsen and Scooble. We'll see how it goes. Brewers, it'll be the first time. The reason why I'm probably going to head down there is because I'm a big fan of the Brewers kits. I've always liked their hats. I've always liked their uniforms. And 2, it's a fun team to watch.
It's also, honestly, I mean, as we're talking about vices, it is one of the cooler team nicknames. We kind of just take it for granted, but like, hey, that's a team that just makes beer.
Yeah.
Like, that's a fun nickname. There's other birds and caged animals, and there's a bunch of guys in the lab making tasty stouts.
Yeah, I mean, they take advantage of the fact that, you know, the Miller Company, which I don't think sponsors, I don't think anything to do with sponsorship anymore, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, when I think of the Brewers, I think of Laverne and Shirley for some strange reason, and just like this. I mean, this for a long time it was more associated with the Braves before they got their expansion team. But either way, it's pretty cool. Yeah, their logo does spell the team's initial. That is one of their sweet logos. I have a hat. I have a Brewers hat somewhere. It's just a little fit, but at any rate, check out our Casey Mize article. We'll be posting that tomorrow. I'll put the link in the description in the morning for that. I just have to finish doing some editing for it. And don't forget to check out the latest Tiger Minor Report Week 10 recap, as we had just me and Chris going into quite a bit. We did also, so if you want to watch the live or past recording with us doing the simulcast and see how it works, let me know. But or I'm sorry, you can go on a YouTube channel. I'm getting tired. I'm trying to do like 500 things. I'm trying to remember every little thing we're trying to do. Next time, if there's a game that you guys want us to watch together for a live podcast, make some suggestions. So and then I think of what else. Other show. If you heard from Cameron, friend of the show, producer Cameron, well, hopefully you're doing well, my friend, and you know, and then yeah, hopefully he's doing well. We haven't heard from him But thanks so much for listening. Keep it classy. Did I say it right, Chris?
Stay classy, yeah.
Stay classy. Okay, stay classy. And our friend, the great John Kloss, thank you so much. We'll see you next week, Monday, for the Minor League Podcast for Week 11. Until then, have a great night, everybody, and have a great weekend.